Hello, hello, hello. This is the Anonymous Reality TV blogger. Hope wherever you guys are having an amazing day, evening, night, wherever you are in the world. This is going to be a review for Love Island Australia Season 3, Episode 4. And wow, it was explosive. So we left off where the previous episode, at the end of episode 3, they were doing the spill the tea game where there was little tea bags and it had little dares for people to do, such as who they find the most attractive. I think Jess's was to say something that would turn somebody on into their ear. And then Mitch got a lot of action with like a triple kiss and with, I think, Lexi giving him a lap dance. Chris got some action. So everybody kind of got some action, but mainly the focus was on the two new guys and kind of them getting to know some of the other women and getting to kiss a lot of the other females that are on the island. And then after that, we saw Mitch pull Tina aside to kind of just let her know that, he's really into her. He's really feeling her. And then also we had kind of Chris and Rachel talking again. And she was kind of thinking that her being into Harry Potter was weird, even though Chris said there's nothing to be weird or ashamed or anything about. And she also said she had a Lego collection and thought that that was kind of weird. And Chris was like, no, you don't need to think anything is weird just because it's something of your interest. You should be confident in whatever it is that you like and not worry about other people's opinions or what they should, think of you based off of that particular thing. So then we move on. Previously, Jess had said that she was wanting to pursue some things with Aaron and that she had sexual tension with him. And so then we move forward and now she's saying that, trying to break it to him basically that she doesn't really feel that spark. However, she doesn't regret like anything up until that point, but basically the spark wasn't there for her any longer. So then we move on to like the nighttime, and then the next day they get a text that they're going to have a challenge. So the challenge is like a little tennis competition basically where the girls had to swing and kind of hit the head of the men that whatever pitchers it landed on, they got to kiss. And it was kind of funny because for the girls portion, they had like 4 big pictures of Chris and Mitch, and then all of the other guys were in like the small circles to really just kind of highlight that they really wanted the focus to be on most of the girls to kiss the 2 bombshells and kind of troll the OG guys, which I thought was pretty funny. And they needed some humbling anyways, because most of them are not bringing it so far. So anyways, they start with the men. And Jess got a lot of kisses from, I want to say, Taku, and then Aaron had hit her by accident. And then I want to say also Ronnie also had kissed Jess. And then Lexi got in her feelings because Ryan had swung and hit Rachel. So Rachel and Ryan had a long kiss and Lexi wasn't feeling that. They didn't show Ari too much in this episode. She's kind of faded into the background now that her connection with Ryan fizzled out. So I'm hoping for her that there is something that she can kind of make up some ground some way so that in the following recoupling, when the guys decide after this first recoupling, hopefully another bombshell or 2 can come in, or one of the guys that she can be in a friendship couple with can save her. So that way she can still stay on the show and have an opportunity to find love. And so then I think other than that, after the tennis game challenge, everybody kind of again reconvened. And that was kind of when Chris, basically was telling Ryan that he was kind of just filling out all of the girls first and foremost, but now he thinks he kind of wants to kind of lock it down with somebody. And so then he pulls Rachel aside and they start kissing again. And then some of the Islanders are cheering them on and everything else. And so then also in the challenge, people wanted to kind of debrief on some things. So Ari and Aaron were talking in the bedroom, and basically Aaron was frustrated because he was trying to figure out where he went wrong. If, Jess is saying that they have, sexual tension and that they wanted to pursue things. And then now all of a sudden, she's saying that it's not there. And so then it was kind of funny because like Jess and Ari were, different people were walking in and out of the room while this conversation was happening. And so then Ari was just kind of like, hey, Jess, can you just come over here and, kind of explain, what it is with Aaron because he's kind of frustrated. And she basically told him, she said, hey, it wasn't a lie that, she was sexually attracted to you and this and that. But she said for her, she doesn't feel the spark. She doesn't feel chemistry. And I guess, Aaron was basically saying that they must have different definitions of chemistry. And so I think by that point, Jess was already checked out because I also wanted to bring in there that the night before, after Jess friend zoned Aaron, she did have a talk with Taku, and they kind of just bonded over the fact that they kind of felt like out of their element in this type of experience, compared to some of the other couples, compared to some of the other Islanders who have been able to progress really fast after a couple of days. And so they kind of, commiserated, and then Taku's takeaway from that conversation was, hey, maybe I need to graft Jess a little more and put in some work and try harder here, because it is something that he was also interested in too as well. So the following day after the tennis challenge, Taku, I think, pulls a few of the girls aside, Ari and Rachel, and is like, hey, I want to plan like a little date, something special for Jess. Are you able to distract her and then have her kind of get ready for this date? And so Ari pulls Jess and kind of, tells her, hey, we're going to get ready. Let's put on a nice dress and some makeup and do our hair and this and that. And it was kind of just earlier in the afternoon, and she wasn't really relaying to Jess the reason. And so then meanwhile, Taku, he's like cutting up fruit. He's got like strawberries and chocolate. He's got crackers and just like a really nice fruit platter that he has set up to do like a little mini date. And so then, Ryan was gassing him up, saying, hey, he's got, the red velvet do-rag on, which means business, which means romance. So everybody was really into it. And so by the time Jess got to Taku, she realized that it was a nice date or whatever, just a little nice intimate moment for them. And that was when, Taku kind of told Jess, hey, I'm really interested in you. I feel like we have some chemistry. We have a connection. And then Jess is like, me too. I really enjoyed the kiss that we shared during the challenge, and it was passionate, and I felt something tingling. So then Taku was happy about that. And so then from there, the guys start to bring over the fruit platter, because I think originally the girls thought that they were going to do it, but then one of the guys said that they were going to do it. So it ended up being Chris and Mitch that brought over the fruit platter. But before they were able to bring it over, Aaron kind of made a comment that was basically like, hey, what if I just came over there and kind of just, and he kind of like lifts up his hand and his arm and is basically like, hey, what if I just lift it up and topple it over so like all the fruit and everything just like falls everywhere, and, you just make a mess and you can't even take it or whatever. And he starts joking or whatever, and then he goes and sits back down. And so, and then for some reason, Mitch and Chris are carrying this fruit platter at a snail's place. Like, I'm like, you guys are like 6'4", 6'5", and you are treating this like it is like a 300-pound weight or something. So it was just really crazy. But eventually they made it over, and Jess was really happy. She felt really special. She felt that, like, thus far this is the most somebody has done to really show interest in her and to let her know that they're all about her and this and that. So she really was appreciative of Taku's efforts. And then from there, he's like trying to feed her, some strawberries dripped in chocolate, and feeding that to her. And then they have another few moments, and then eventually they have like a really nice kiss. And they're just like really happy, because it's her first kiss outside of the challenge, and they're just like really into it. So from there, was kind of like the main thing that happened. And then we also saw Chris and Rachel making out under the blanket. And then that was kind of the main thing. And then later on for the evening, Ryan basically told Lexi that he's all about her. And he's no longer interested in Ari. So, and he's saying, but I still think he's playing a game. So we'll see what happens when the next female bombshell walks in, if he still has that same energy or not. And then they start to make out or whatever. And so then Jordan tells Taku's getting ready about Aaron's comment earlier about trying to flip over the fruit platter. And so Taku's kind of like, really? He said that? Like, that's very childish, like, who makes a comment like that or whatever. And so, he basically reiterated that he's going to have a conversation at some point later in the evening with Aaron to clear the air on all of that. And, then everybody kind of congregates and gets a text message basically that America's been voting who their, islander is that they felt made the best first impression on them and this and that. And so, everybody's kind of speculating of who they think is going to get the text message. And then we kind of hear Ari and Rachel, maybe, that they were, or Ari and Tina, I can't remember who, but they were guessing that probably who made the best first impression or likely going to be Taku or Jess. So, with Australia, and it ended up being Taku, who won. And so as a result, with him winning and being, the first impression that Australia really liked, he will get to go first in the recoupling, so that there's no way that he's going to be the first guy that's dumped from the island. So more than likely than not, since him and Jess just had the date, she's likely going to go first in the next recoupling to pick Taku, and he is good to go and he is safe from elimination. So I thought that was really nice, because previously the past couple of days it kind of seemed like everybody was friend-zoning Taku, and I think it just worked out to where Jess had to kind of see that her connection with Jordan wasn't working, her connection with Aaron really wasn't working as she thought it would, and so now there is potentially something there with her and Taku. So that's great for the both of them. So then, after some time passes, Taku pulls Aaron aside and is like, hey, I want to have a conversation or whatever. And so he pulls him aside. They sit to these chairs to kind of discuss the whole joking thing about, Aaron telling the guys, like, what if he, basically toppled over the fruit platter and had the fruit go everywhere or whatever. And Aaron basically, didn't budge and basically was saying, hey, he doesn't care what Taku thinks. Like, this is, he's not apologizing for what he said. He said it in a joking manner, but he's not bothered, even though he sounded very bothered. And Taku's just like, man to man, if you have a problem with me or if there's an issue, just tell me. And, Aaron kept doubling down like, oh, there's no issue. I don't need to apologize, blah, blah, blah. But it was like really deep down, you could tell. And he later admitted in the confessional that He was in his feelings because he was upset that he was rejected by Jess because he really thought that there was something there with them. And then he also felt in his feelings about the fact that, Taku pulled out all the stops basically for this nice little date for Jess that did more than any of the other guys who've been interested in Jess were. So he was in his feelings about that and said the day was too much for him. And then he randomly brings up in the argument with Taku that Taku was interested in Lexi first and it didn't work out. So now he's on to Jess. And so Taku's like, well, you were into Lexi too. And she went out on a date with the both of us. So what does that have to do with anything? Like, that's irrelevant. So I think Aaron was just kind of grasping at straws. I think coupled it with the climax of, Taku also being a favorite of America, or not America, Australia. I'm in America, but Australia, that it kind of just took him over the edge and he was just not feeling it at all. So, and then also I wanted to also add that Taku had a moment after he found out that he was Australia's favorite islander with the first impression. He had a moment to where, he basically said he's always felt like he could never be truly himself. He always felt like he was never enough or overlooked. And it was very nice to receive from Australia this type of honor to let them know that they appreciate who he is and how authentic he is, and they love his personality and this and that. And so now he feels like he can relax and just continue to be himself and enjoy the journey and the experience that this Love Island season is going to bring for him. So that was pretty much it in terms of everything that happened. I promise we'll keep saying Australia, not America, as this goes on. But one thing to note, there is another vote. And I guess this vote is about who do we think out of the Islanders deserves love the most. And I'm pretty 99.9% sure that's going to probably go to Jess or Taku, because it probably just seems from early feelers that that's kind of where everybody likes the most, female and male wise. So I would be shocked if neither one of them got that. And whoever does win it will end up with some type of special advantage moving forward. For some reason, one issue I have is the scheduling. So apparently they said starting next week, the episodes are going to air from Tuesday through Friday. And this week we had, the 4 episodes and Monday through Thursday. And I don't understand why it's not like Love Island US or Love Island UK, where at least 5 days a week, you're getting a new episode. And then it's airing at least 6 days a week, to where one of the episodes is at least either a recap episode or an unseen footage episode, that sort of thing, for us to only just have 4 episodes. And then we're waiting 3 days for the recoupling. And so that's going to put us even further back, because usually these episodes air, 24 to 48 hours after everything has taken place. So now you're talking about, up to 72 hours or even longer of, how many days behind we're going to be by the time Monday's episode airs, that we've already, the bombshells are already there. By the time we get to Monday, there's probably already going to be a new recoupling coming up soon within the next couple of days where the girls pick. So I'm not sure scheduling wise why we have to wait till Monday. It's fine if they want Friday to be a recap episode or have the day off, but to just not even air anything at all Sunday, I just think that is very poor scheduling on Australia's part, to not have the continuity and to literally have a 3-day break when so far in these other franchise seasons, the season usually is about 6 weeks or so, a little over a month for the most part. I think UK usually is the one that is a little bit longer, that kind of lasts the full 2 months or what have you. And So I have no idea if that's something that potentially could change in the future, but I feel like Monday, having this recoupling, and you can kind of see in the preview, it looks like Taku and Jess are going to be together for the recoupling. I hope that Aaron goes, but I have a feeling that Ari might save him. So I feel like it's probably going to be between Jordan or Ronnie that ends up going first, because I just think the women just are not into these OG men like at all. Like, it seems like they're all, for the most part, all about Chris and Mitch, and Jess with Taku, and everybody else is just trying to get in where they fit in. But yeah, like, I'm not sure with these OGs, like, why it's so weird, but they're just all kind of just not bringing it at all, and there's like no substance, and this whole thing of like only being interested in somebody because they're a blonde is like very superficial and very stupid, and then it just makes the other girls just feel as though, like, why are they even there? And it's just very poor taste. I mean, it's like we have so much diversity now, people with, all different shapes and sizes and ethnicities and things. And for that to be like your only focus is whether or not somebody's a blonde, but you don't take into account like their personality, how they treat you, or anything else. It's just the fact if they have blonde hair or not, that's like your deal breaker, and that's your end all be all. Like, it's just lame. So I don't know if they're going to hopefully bring in some better bombshells male-wise after this new female bombshell comes in for the Monday episode to kind of balance some things out, because these OG men just really, sans Taku, all of these OG men in my eyes can go. And really, I'm not as impressed with the bombshells. Like, I feel like Chris is more of the type of bombshell I was expecting Mitch to be. But I think, the females are going to do enough to at least keep them until they do bring in some better bombshells. But I do think Chris definitely will make it at least through Casa Amor. He has a very high chance of that happening, because I think a lot of people like him. So, and we'll see what happens with Mitch. But he seems to be all about Tina for right now. So we'll see if that's a real connection, or we'll see if that changes up as some more bombshells come in. So those are all of my thoughts for episode 4. I cannot believe we have to wait 72 hours for episode 5 for the recoupling, when clearly it's already happened, and they could have just aired it tonight or aired it Sunday night. But maybe something will change in the future if there's enough people, that, reach out and speak out and everything else. I also like that, there has been a great amount of drama already this season. Every single day there's just been something, whether it's, the varying interests in the different couplings, to where people who initially coupled up with, they realize they don't really like, and then everybody's getting friend zoned. And then everybody's all about the bombshells, and now everybody, a couple people are fighting, and it's just been, a lot of good TV these first 4 episodes. So I'm really happy that they're bringing it. And I'm happy that they're also getting Australia involved with these votes early. So that way people know early on, what's going on in the game. Because I feel like even with the US season, they wait until, it's close to Casa Amor to let you know who America's favorite is. And I feel like that's like so later on in the game. Like, people need to know early on. You got to keep people on their toes, and not let anybody get too comfortable. So I think, incorporating the voting, but also revealing the voting, once a week at least, of what, Australia thinks. I think it is great, because it keeps people, focused in. So now everybody knows right now that Taku is Australia's favorite. So now everybody is going to have to move and kind of see how they're going to find a way to stay in the villa. So it'll be very, very interesting. Please let me know your thoughts. Sorry, this was a little bit long. There was just so much going on in this episode, and it was very entertaining. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I definitely will be reviewing this season of Australia because it is so much better than last season. And please let me know in the comments if there's any other shows or things that you guys want me to review or give my thoughts on and what have you. And I will talk to you guys soon. Please have a nice weekend, Australia fans, because we have to wait, unfortunately, until Monday to see the results of the recoupling as well as the fallout of who the first guy is that is sent home. So we will definitely be posted upon that. I will talk to you guys soon, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day.